Hello and welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang along with Mikey K, Mike Karafilids, and Zack Bodenstein joining us today. The third member of our crew was on last season. First time we have him on here in season number 2 of Trout Talk. This is episode number 17 of season number 2, getting close up on the holidays here. So the Steelheads just finishing out their schedule before they get that 8-day break. Before we get into the Steelheads, usually we talk about what's going on. Mikey, we usually share, our boring lives every week. So let's go to Zack. Let's see what he has to say. What's been going on, man? It's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yeah, good to be back with you boys. I mean, we're seeing each other at the rink all the time, so everything's the same there. But nice to jump on here with you guys. Life's been busy. This broadcast industry is all over the place, so that's kind of where I've been. But things are fine. Super excited to get into the holiday season and get that going. Hopefully planning a trip right before the OHL playoffs. I obviously want to be here by the time the Steelers can get in the playoffs. But yeah, super excited for that, and just to keep working. That's all it is.
That's all it is, dude. It's been like a year since you've been on here. It's just working. That's it. That's all that's been going on.
Life's in the way, work, social life, right? It's all of it. Trying to catch up on sleep,
Right.
like trying to get any sort of sleep at this point is a bonus. So took today off because last night we had the game, so that was awesome, and so I'm feeling rested today.
All right, good. Back to work tomorrow as well. Mikey, how have you been doing? Since the last couple of weeks? We didn't have an episode last week, so.
No, we did not. So, everything's good. Everything's good. Same old thing, Groundhog Day. The birds are chirping. The chipmunks are climbing trees. Stuff like that. I saw a really cute chipmunk the other day. And the way he was eating its nut. You know what I mean? It's just so cool. You just stare at them, and they just look at you like they think you're gonna steal their nut, right? And it's just
kind of like he was eating a piece of chocolate cake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They love the chipmunks love their. They love their nuts. But anyway, no, everything's good,
right.
right? So, yeah, Groundhog Day, buddy. That's all she said. That's the way she goes.
That's it. Yeah, same with me. Again, being around the rink because there's a kind of Zack, you talked about it, but a midweek game for the Steelheads. It feels kind of weird going to the rink during the middle of the week, and it feels like a weekend when you get there. And it's like, this shouldn't be happening, but they got to get their games in. Of course, they have the holiday break coming up here in just a bit. Their last game coming up on December 20th. That's I guess a week from this past Friday, or this upcoming Friday, I should say, is the final game before the holiday break. So let's talk about the recent stretch of play here, and we can kind of start with the game on Friday in Niagara. The Steelheads lose that one by a score of 5-4. Mikey, you were there, so what did you see in that game?
Well, I mean, got off to a really, really, slow start. I mean, race for the puck, and Alex Asadorian, he seems to always score against the Steelheads. That's another guy, even when he was a Sudbury Wolf. And he won a race to the puck, and it was like a perfect shot, beat Ivan Kovic to make it 1-0. And then after that, it just kind of went back and forth, and then some turnovers. Some turnovers really cost the Steelheads in that game. And if it wasn't for the turnovers, Steelheads outplayed them. They really did. And Owen Flores, again, just making save after save and making these glove saves. It's just like, holy moly, like, when's this guy gonna stop, right? So he's been doing it all year. He's been doing a great job. And yeah, that was pretty much it, really. It was their goaltending. What's their goaltending and their turnovers? Steelheads were absolutely winning that game 100%. So what are you going to do? I mean, it's one of those games, right? And, Niagara, they've been starting Flores for like almost every game, it seems like, right? And if I'm a Niagara fan, I might be concerned maybe he's going to get burnt out. So, I mean, I know they do have Charlie Robertson as their backup, but I just think he's going to get burnt out. I think it's going to be a problem for them moving forward. If he gets hurt or something, forget about it. So, yeah, then that's the way she goes, and that's the way she went in Niagara.
Yeah, Flores has definitely been one of the reasons why Niagara is going to be in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. I think it would be a massive collapse of epic proportions at this point if the Ice Dogs were not to make the playoffs. So good for them, good for that fan base. We know people with the organization, so happy for them too to get back to their winning ways, and for the players too. I mean, to have a losing culture like that takes a toll. So it's great to see a new regime in there with Ben Boudreau behind the bench, and for them to win some games. I'm pretty much on board with Mikey here. I mean, top line continued to do their thing against the Ice Dogs, but without them, I don't know where the Steelheads really would have been. They played a good game, but at the end of the day, other people, we're talking about this game specifically, other people have to put the puck in the net. We know that depth started to pick up in terms of the offense later on when we get into these other games. But for that game particularly, it was the top line, some blown coverage, some goals that Jack Ivankovic doesn't typically let in. Just not a great recipe, but they only lost by 1 on the road given all that. So it's still about health. That continues to be a thing for the Steelheads. Obviously, we have guys at World Junior camps right now, but health has been an issue the entire season. Let's remember, guys, this team is built for March, April, May, potentially June.
That's right.
I'm not too concerned, guys, about, how they're playing without all these guys in the lineup. It's going to be about how it all molds together in March and April. Obviously, you want them to be together to find their footing and get the chemistry going. But all things considered, I'm liking what I'm seeing, especially on the offensive side of things.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. With all the guys out, and there's going to be some deals probably made as well that are going to complement what they already have. Moving past, like you said, they're built for March and April hockey, and I think that's kind of where they're going to be heading. With that game in Niagara, though, of course, I think they were the better team. Just it was really the 5 goals were 5 defensive zone breakdowns. Like they broke down 5 times. They allowed those, and other than that, they looked like the stronger team in that game. So they lose that game on the road on Friday night. They come back home for a game on Sunday. That was a teddy bear toss game against the Erie Otters, and the Steelheads also lose that one 5-4. It goes to overtime, but Adam Zidlicki scores the teddy bear toss winner. Zach, we'll give you credit on that one. You did pick Adam Zidlicki to score the teddy bear toss goal. So I think it was a game where, again, the Steelheads pushed back in the third period. They didn't have much for the first 2 periods, but then they really pushed back in the third. And you like to see that kind of effort from that team when they were down, but still finding a way to get back in that game, but ultimately losing in overtime.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. I mean, what else can you say? The third period, they came out hard, and but in the first period, that's what killed them. I mean, that's what killed them 100%. Erie came out. They got a lot of speed. That team's got a lot of speed, and they're a big team. So they were handling the Steelheads in their own zone, and they did a good job, and they deserved to win that game, right? And then that just proves that you got to play 60 minutes, and especially against a team like the Erie Otters. Pano Femus was good. Matthew Schaefer, man, seeing him for the first time in Brampton, I saw him in Erie, whatnot, but man, he's something, I'll say. Like he really controls that back end, but they deserve to win that game. A little bit too little, too late, and that just says what James Richmond's been talking about. You got to keep them pedal to the metal, and you got to play 60 minutes. And they didn't do that against the Erie Otters, and the Erie Otters did. And kudos to them. And I don't know if they played 60, maybe about 45, but they did enough to win that game. And so there you go. That's the way she goes.
It's a few games in a row now where the Steelheads have started slow and they've had to claw themselves back in games. It's not a recipe for success. It's not characteristic of this team either. Let's remember at the beginning of the year how many times they were scoring within the first minute, maybe even the first shift of the hockey game. So not typical of the Steelheads, but again, guys are out of the lineup. Other guys have to step up. Talk about being burnt out. Maybe the guys up front are burnt out. They're playing elevated roles that they're not typically used to playing. And to their credit, they're doing a fine job. It's just really tough to overcome the losses that they've suffered, but they're starting to get healthier.
Yes.
Like we said, by trade deadline, they should be pretty much 100% healthy. And then if James Richmond elects to make trades, which we're 99.9% sure he's going to.
99.9%.
As close as certainty as we could be, right? I mean, right. He'll add to the team, but most importantly, they are going to be healthy with the guys they already have. And that's a team that was ranked number 1 in the CHL rankings preseason on paper. So we know the team's really good when they're together, and they're only going to add. So again, I'm not too concerned, but slow starts, like you said, have been a bit of a theme lately and not particularly a good one.
I'm telling you right now, they're going to get back up to that number 1 spot. They're going to get back in that top 10 after the trade deadline. Mark my words.
There you go. We'll cut that and we'll bring it back up when it happens in March when they head into the playoffs. I guess quickly before we get to our guests here, we're going to have Finn Harding on the show today. We can talk about the most recent game, and that was on Wednesday night. Talked a little bit about the midweek game, but the Steelheads really shorthanded in that one, the most
Oh.
shorthanded we've seen all season long. That's against the that was against the Brantford Bulldogs. So you take all the injuries. You have Porter Martone, Carson Rakoff, Jack Ivankovic. They're at Team Canada World Junior Camp, and then you take Adam Zidlicki, who's probably been your best depth player all season long. Add that in with the defenseman in Jakob Fibiger, and for how they were shorthanded yesterday, you have to really like the effort that they gave.
Yeah, I don't think that's a game that Jay McKee is really like patting his guys on the back saying, good job, boys, you got the 2 points. I think that's a game that they should have won like 8-0 on paper, and they didn't. It took them to OT. What a game from some of the Steelheads in particular. I thought Gabe Sherrod has played a really good energy role and showed some offensive upside in his OHL career. He took it to another level playing with Luke Misa. Great to see Luke Misa drive that top line, extend the point streak to 13. He's been unbelievable since the first, 8 to 10 games of the year. Started a little bit slower on the offensive side of things. So really like the way some of those guys stepped up. Spencer Sova and Finn Harding, who we'll talk to. I think I want to ask Finn what his ice time was on Wednesday, because we don't have an official.
Like he never got off the ice.
Got to be over 30, right?
So 40 minutes.
Guys stepped up. Guys stepped up for sure. But again, I don't think it's a convincing win from the Brantford Bulldogs, who by my measures have kind of disappointed this year. Like, we thought they'd be a lot better than they are. They're still a good team. They're probably still a contender, but it was not a convincing win over the shorthanded Steelheads, missing 11 regulars whatsoever.
You know what, though? Hard work, smart work, hard work. And we talked about that in intermission, Brendan. You know, Zach. We talked to Jar about it as well inside our meeting, and that's what they did. They outworked them. They outworked the Brantford Bulldogs. The outlet passes were absolutely phenomenal. The outlet out of their own zone. The way they were forechecking, the way they were causing turnovers in that defense. Lucas Moore was giving the puck up. Roberts was giving. Every defenseman was giving the puck up back there, and they didn't know what to do, right? And it's nice to see, and it's nice to see Aiden Lane, of course, get his first OHL goal. He played a real good part in that victory. Well, not loss, but it could have been a victory. Let's just say that. But nice to see the hard work, boy, especially with all these APs and these call-ups that were up. Steven getting his first OHL point as well. First OHL goal for Martin Vasulik as well. I think that was Martin Vasulik's best game of the year as well, against the Brantford Bulldogs. So good to see the team effort. I just can't wait till everybody comes back, and they're going to feed off this. I'm just telling you right now, and it's coming soon. It's coming soon, folks. Look out.
Definitely coming soon with everybody getting healthy. You talked about some firsts yesterday. Manny Amato also getting on the board as well, getting his first point in the OHL too. So we'll throw to break now. Come back on the other side. We'll talk to Brampton Steelheads defenseman Finn Harding, and you're listening to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. And welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang, along with Mikey K, Mike Karafilids, and Zack Bodenstein joining us here today. 3 broadcasters for the Brampton Steelheads, and now joining us on the show, Steelheads defenseman, assistant captain Finn Harding. Finn, thanks for coming on. How are you doing today?
Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for having me. Happy to be on.
You look like you just got up there. Fantastic.
No. I came from practice, rushed over. The rush hours got me tired though. Maybe that's what you're seeing.
Gotcha. Well, you got the hair going on, you got the hockey hair going on and stuff. I don't know. It just looks like you woke up, so I'm not sure. Looking good, buddy. Looking good.
All right. So I guess we could start with these past few games. Obviously, you guys have been really shorthanded. We can talk about the game yesterday, too. That was on Wednesday against the Brantford Bulldogs. We were just discussing missing 11 players. I mean, what were you guys thinking, going into that game with being so shorthanded?
Yeah, I didn't know it was 11. That's a lot. But, we were kind of acknowledged in the room, that we're missing a lot of good guys and key guys at that. And, we just kind of next man up kind of thing. We had a lot of young guys that, wanted to make their mark and show up. And I think for the older guys like myself, it was time to, step up and really come to play. And, I know we lost in overtime, but I think it was a great effort from all the way up and down the lineup. And, we played the right way, and it didn't go our way at the end there, but really strong effort. And I think it was a great game from everybody.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your ice time, Finn. Like, you and Spencer Sova, it seemed like you guys didn't leave the ice, and you had to be relied upon in a game like that. So do you know what the ice time was after yesterday's game?
I'm not quite sure on the exact number, but it was over 30, I think. I heard you say earlier
45.
that 30 mark, but yeah, it was quite a bit. But luckily we've been working hard in the gym with Benna, and he's got our conditioning right, so it was we were ready for it for sure.
Then I just, you know what, man, like we've talked about this already, but we had an interview with you and your brother. Like, how awesome is that to play with your brother? I mean, I keep saying this. I wish I had a brother to play with, like to play OHL or do that. I have two older sisters, which is fine. But, like playing with your brother, rooming with your brother in Erie, what an accomplishment, man. Like you guys must have been like just on cloud nine. How tell me about your family again, how that felt and whatnot. Because I know your mom, I saw your mom actually at the game, and she was just like, thank you for the interview and whatnot. And she's very emotional, like in a good way. She's just a good person, and your dad too. You come from a good family. So talk to me about that whole experience.
Thanks,
Talk
Mike.
to
Really
us about
appreciate.
that whole experience. Sorry.
Yeah, no, thanks. By the way, I appreciate those comments. But yeah, it was surreal to be able to play with him, and we always kind of joked about it. Him being the lefty, me being the right D. Us being D partners, and for it to actually come to fruition is insane. And we're super grateful for the games we had, and hopefully the future games we have. And yeah, like you said, Mom's very passionate. I think a couple tears were shed those first few
Oh
games.
yeah.
When she saw us on the ice, which is pretty cool. And you know these moments are moments we'll share forever and talk about forever. But yeah, like you said, like it was just super cool playing with my little bro, and being able to drive up to the rink with them and prep with them, warm up, and then line up with them on face-offs and get to play with them. It's special for sure, and never forget it. And hopefully we get more games together. That's the plan.
So awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that obviously is really cool. And I want to talk to you about another guy that you've been playing with very often this year in Spencer Sova, of course, coming over in the off season. What has it been like kind of meshing with him and being able to play with him on the back end?
Yeah, not a bad D partner, eh?
I would
Yeah,
say.
he's been great. He's got those wheels. He's an unreal player, unreal offensive D man. Like he plays both ends really well and makes my job very easy. And yeah, we've been hanging around off ice and hanging around on ice, trying to build chemistry and get closer. And he's one of my great buddies, and he's a great guy off the ice, which is even more important. But yeah, he's been really fun to play with this year, and hopefully we can keep building off of what we've done so far and keep that momentum going for later on in the season when it counts.
Well, you've seen a lot of maturity in your game, Finn. Defensively, the numbers are awesome, and especially the apples are great. The plus minus is awesome too. But what are some of the things that you've been working on to get to this point, and maybe even further? We know that the Pittsburgh Penguins have been scouting you quite a bit at the home games, especially. So, what are some of the things that maybe they're telling you to work on, and what your coaching staff in Brampton's been telling you as well?
Yeah, for sure. Playing my identity is the big one. Being hard to play against, being able to shut down those top lines night in and night out, and making their lives miserable a little bit on the ice, and but also being able to transition pucks and chip in offensively, like you said. I'm trying to create some offense as well and help the team with secondary scoring, rounding out my game. But definitely being hard to play against defensively, and then being able to move pucks up with a good first pass, and help out when I can, get in the offensive zone and keep it there and create chances. So that's the one thing I've been working on, would be probably the defensive side of things, but also trying to branch out a little bit as well.
You definitely have, before I get to my question, you definitely have a career in broadcasting. The way you talk right now, you're a studio guy all the way. All the way. Comes to you, then goes over there, and then Finn puts it. Oh yeah. But anyway,
Appreciate that, Mikey.
oh, 100%. So I just, did you know Kyle Dubas was at the game last night? And I didn't want to talk to you. Obviously, I'm not going to, we don't want to say nothing until now. Dubas was at the game last night, and he was in Erie. So obviously, he's been following you around, and they're really, really high on you, the Pittsburgh Penguins. So have you talked to Mr. Dubas at all? Anytime he's been in the arenas?
No, yeah, I was aware he was at both those games, and
Mm-hmm.
tried doing my best when he was there, of course. And yeah, I've spoken with him before. He's awesome, just awesome. Spoke with him at camp. I didn't speak with him after any of those games, but at camp,
Okay.
and he welcomed me with open arms. The organization, and super special moment to be able to talk to him and get to know him a little bit for sure.
And on the point of the Pittsburgh Penguins,
That's
tell us
awesome.
about your draft experience. You know, you getting picked in the NHL draft, and then also after that, getting to go to camp and experiencing that kind of pro side of the game as well.
Yeah, getting drafted was unreal. Just a surreal moment, to share that with my family in our living room, and we were watching from the screen, and I had no idea, like I guess everyone else watching, but when I saw my name pop up, it was super awesome to be able to share that moment and have that moment, and yeah, it's one of those things that you take a second to appreciate, but then on to the next thing, and you just take it in stride, and got to keep working. But and in camp, when I went to dev camp and main camp, just an awesome experience. Learned so much, and a lot of great guys at both those camps, and to be able to play with those NHL guys was awesome. Like, you learn so much. It's one thing to see them, and look from the stands, but it's another thing to be on the ice and 3 feet away from them and defending them. Like, you pick up things that you never even would have thought of, and it was just a really cool experience. And Pittsburgh ran an unbelievable camp, and yeah, I learned a lot. Was the most important part. I went in trying to be a sponge and took some things out of it, which was good, and hoping to continue to use that. Oh, I think we lost Mikey,
Yeah.
and carry that on to the season, and try to make it stick. So yeah, it was super fun.
Well, that's the right attitude to have, right? Just take in all the information. I was talking to your dad on the second day of the draft, and just hoping and praying and thinking, this guy has to get picked. He had such an awesome year, and gratefully you did. And obviously you seem very humble and grateful for that. But let's talk about mom and dad. I mean, they've been awesome, obviously, with us, but to you and to Jared, how have they helped you guys kind of navigate and find your way? And I'm sure they were the first ones to give you a hug and jump on you after you were drafted.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, the parents, they're the ones that do all the real hard work, driving us to practices as kids and games, and feeding us, and putting up with our nonsense, all that. Like, they're the real heroes in all of it. And being drafted, it's a collective. It takes a village, they say. And all the coaches, and everybody that has helped me along the way, they are also take absolute credit for it. But yeah, like you said, parents. Getting drafted is good for me, but it's almost great for them too, because it's that hard work kind of amounts to something a little bit, which is kind of nice to see. And yeah, they've been the best role models for my brother and I, and hopefully we can keep proving them right, I guess, if you will.
You guys must be getting really pumped up now. I mean, because the way you guys played last night, some of the injuries now are going to start to come back. And then, the guys at the World Juniors, they're going to come back. And then who knows what's going to happen after that, whatnot. But you personally and the veterans must be starting to get a little bit more excited now, what's happening.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, we've had a lot of guys out the whole season with injuries. It's just been unlucky a little bit, but luckily we have a great team, and a lot of depth. So a lot of guys have been able to step up, and we've been still very competitive this season. But yeah, when guys start filtering back in, it definitely is exciting, because we got a really special team here and a great tight group, and we're expecting big things this postseason, and so I'm excited for it. And I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that.
Yeah. Everybody says that.
Yeah.
Chase Lefebvre says that. Everybody says that. Can't believe how tight the group is, right?
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And what's his when I interviewed Steven last night, Alexander Steven, just to add a piggyback on that, what you're saying. First thing he said was, the guys are so welcoming to me, and he just seemed so comfortable. He seemed like he was there for like 5 years, and that's the effect that you guys have, you know what I mean? Because you guys are just really, really good kids. So just to say, there it is.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, like, definitely a good culture, and that starts with the coaches, and it also starts with the former veterans on our team, like former captains like Charlie Callahan, Chaz Sharp, Ethan Del Mastro, Luca Del Boblu, like, they all kind
Yeah.
of instilled that. James Hardy, I'm forgetting a lot of names, but they knew who they are. But they kind of instilled that culture for us, and we kind of have grown up together a little bit, a lot of us, and with the guys that have recently come in, like Sova, Carson, Stevo, like you said. We just obviously welcome them like they're brothers, and we just become this brotherhood. And I think it's a really good group, and I know you probably get that a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people say that, but I really do mean it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I just,
cliche, but this
yeah,
is this
it's
is
the
this is the
corny.
real deal.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, I know it's cheesy, but I really do mean it. And
No, yeah, no.
I'm hoping the best, like all of us, for what's to come, and hopefully we can put it into play in the future.
You could
100%.
tell like, before you jump in, Brennan. You could tell how tight the group was when I was at the top prospects game in Oshawa when Covey and Marty were playing, and I saw you guys all sitting there, and then I came to join you, and the coaches told me that you guys were there. I mean, you could see just like the way that everybody kind of blends together, and you could tell why there's chemistry on the ice because everybody off the ice is having a good time. So I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there because it's very easy to tell that you guys are just enjoying each other's company, messing around like what I did when I was 18, 19, 20 with my buddies.
Exactly.
So I love it. It's great.
And that makes a team, right? And that makes
100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
a team.
It was good
And-
seeing you
and-
there, by the way, Zach. That was fun.
It's great to see you, man. It was fun.
And a part of that culture, obviously, you're a big part of it. Being an assistant captain, you're named to the leadership group before the season. So, how has that kind of changed your role? And who are some guys that maybe you learned from? You mentioned a few names there that have kind of helped you to mold into that leadership role that you're in now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, those guys that I named earlier, I kind of studied them a little bit when I was younger, and they were kind of leading and took some things off them on and off the ice. And yeah, it's definitely an honor to have an A for this team and this kind of group. But I think with or without a letter, like we got a bunch of leaders on this team, and so it kind of makes it easy for me and other guys. But yeah, that's something that I've definitely tried to do this season, is kind of step into that leadership role and try to help this team and bring that culture that we've been instilling the past couple of years and keep at it.
Well, you and Sova have become really good friends, and you could totally tell by the way you guys play together. And I think you guys should be together all year. I mean, the way you guys have been playing. But what an acquisition that guy's been, right? I mean, the way he plays, the way he walks the blue line, like does he teach you how to walk the blue line? Just curious. My gosh.
No,
it's
I've
just like
definitely
it's just
been
like an art the way he does it. It's just
yeah,
like,
no, you're
so-
right. He's definitely electric on that blue line. And I've definitely been watching him a little bit because I try to take something out of everyone's game, but his in particular is that walking the line and how he's able to patrol and find seams. And yeah, like I said, he's been fun to play with, so it's been good.
And on that note, I mean, you've been getting a bit more power play time. Talk about that, because offense has been a part of your game this year. You're not compromising the defensive side, but you're getting some power play time. That must be fun, but with that comes a lot of responsibility too.
Yeah, it's been good. Trying to help out where I can, and yeah, I've gotten an opportunity this year to play on a lot more power play, which has been nice. And I'm just trying to capitalize when I can, and yeah, without compromising the defensive side of things, and yeah, trying to chip in as much as I can.
And aside from the offense, and you were talking about things that you were trying to, bring into this season, it maybe was, brought up by Pittsburgh or whatever. I find, at least just watching the game, you seem to be playing with more of a physical presence this year than I'd seen in the past, and maybe a little bit meaner out there on the ice. You got in a fight this year as well. First time. I think that's the first time I've seen you fight. So has that sort of been like a conscious effort to get that added into your game?
Yeah, I definitely went into this last off season trying to gain a lot of strength and a bit more weight and size, and I did that. I accomplished that, which was nice. And yeah, I've definitely been trying to be a bit meaner, if you will, on the ice, and that goes with being hard to play against. And yeah, I had a bit of a fight in Saginaw, and that was good. And then yeah, just trying to. It is a bit of a conscious effort to kind of finish my hits when I can, and it just adds to that being hard to play against. So yeah, I've definitely kind of added that to my bag, or tried to add that to my bag at least this season.
That fight you got into in Saginaw, who was that with again?
Ethan Hay,
wasn't it?
Yeah, their captain. Yeah.
I would say you won that fight, just to say. And Ethan Hay was acting like he won the World Series. I just want to kind of throw that in there. And wow, did you get the boys fired up after that? Just to say, that was a big spark. But I'm not saying fighting is good. Just to let everybody know, who's watching and listening out there, is just part of the game. Anyway, yeah, great job, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Was it your first fight? I just don't remember you fighting.
I got in the one my first year, but that one was more of a wrestling match. So yeah, if you will, this might have been my first.
Who's giving you the fighting tips, if anybody?
Shout out to my guy Ryan Young. I worked with him a bit this summer. Ryan Young Boxing, he's in Oakville, and he helped me out a lot and gave me some great tips. And we worked this summer on a little bit of fighting. So yeah, it was good.
Have you ever seen a Blue Jay before?
A Blue Jay?
Yeah, like live in your face.
I've seen one in my backyard once or twice. Yeah. Why do you ask?
Apparently it's good luck. Have you ever heard anything like that before?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, if you see a Blue Jay, it's good luck.
Okay.
If you see a Cardinal, it's bad luck.
All right,
You
I'll
never
be
heard
on
that
the I'll be
before?
on the lookout
Yeah.
for those Blue Jays then. Yeah, thanks for
I've
that.
heard
Maybe it's my family saying this stuff. I don't know.
I've heard there's
But
a
they do say it.
spiritual. I've heard there's a spiritual meaning to finding cardinals, and apparently it's like
Yes.
somebody who's passed away is like visiting you or something.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
There are a lot of theories. So anyway,
No, I just thought I'd throw that in.
All right, we can wrap things up. We'll let you run. Finn, thanks so much for coming on. You've been great so far this year, so continued success, and we'll see you around the rink. Thanks so much for coming on. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Great speaking with you guys, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Finn.
see you, Finn.
All right, that was Steelheads assistant captain and defenseman Finn Harding here on Saga 960 AM on Trout Talk, and we'll be back right after this. And welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang along with Mikey K, Mike Karafilids, Zack Bodenstein on the show today as well. 3 broadcasters for the Brampton Steelheads. Guys, we can quickly talk about our conversation that we just had with Finn Harding. And I asked him about kind of the leadership role that he's obviously had to take on this year, being an older player, being an assistant captain this year. But you can tell the maturity is there, and he really conducts himself as a pro. And I mean, obviously that has a lot to do with the fact that he got to go to NHL camp this year, and obviously he's brought back some of those qualities to the team.
One of the best people. I mean, just like Mike said, very well spoken, but positive is a huge thing. Like, it's almost weird to hear him think about getting feisty on the ice because
I know
he's such a softy off the ice. But to have that blend is awesome. He's fitting in with the boys. Obviously, he's one of the leaders on the team now. One of the older guys all of a sudden. Seems like yesterday it was just his rookie year.
Exactly.
And we're coming into this season, and we see Finn Harding and Parker Von Richter on the back end. We're like, are we sure these guys are capable? So it's crazy to think they're in their 3rd year. So Finn's always been one of my favorite guys on the team. Very well spoken, easy to talk to. If his parents are listening, you know I love you guys already because we're always chatting.
Good, yeah.
So just a great family. And to have him paired up with his brother, like not only on the same team, but they were out together on the ice a number of times. Super cool.
That's unreal. I mean, can you imagine? Like, my gosh, like playing with your brother, the same OHL team, whatnot. But he did a good job, Jared Harding, when he came up. He did. Right? So really good. He moves the puck really well out of his own zone. He's very smart, just like his brother. His brother is very smart too. And I'll say this again about Finn. Everything you said, Zach, I'd probably say the same thing. I mean, great kid, whatnot. And if I had an older daughter that was ready for marriage, I'll say this again. Finn would be the guy. Finn would be the guy to marry the daughter, 100%. This is how much of a good, he's just always smiling, good kid, positive. What else can you ask for? I mean, right? Hey, you say to Finn, come on over. I need your help. Hey, right away, right? And he'd be the type of guy you say, look, can you fix my wall here or something? Finn would be like, he'd be the first one. All right, let's do this. You know what I mean? Like, he's a leader. And I love the kid. Yeah. Like everything Zach said, that's it.
Yeah.
He can if I had a daughter, he can marry any day of the week. I'd arrange the marriage.
That's what I was going to say. Let's bring back arranged marriages. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'll probably still do that these days. You never know.
Oh yeah, somewhere for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely still happens. But yeah, I mean, the Steelheads, obviously, they always talk about the people that they bring in and not just the players. And I think Finn is a perfect example of the type of people that they bring into the organization. And obviously all the things that you guys said, just a great guy to be around and very easy to talk to, always approachable. So big thank you to Finn for coming on the program today. We do have a few Steelheads games coming up here. We'll focus on the Oshawa Generals because that's coming up tonight after Trout Talk. That game starts at 6:00, but we'll kind of quickly talk about the next game at the time of recording. That's on Friday against the Sudbury Wolves in Sudbury. Mikey, you'll be down there. So what are you looking for in that game?
Look for maybe the boys might be thinking about a little revenge for that game, right? And I'm sure that's on the back of their mind. Last year losing to the Sudbury Wolves in the playoffs. Don't forget what the Sudbury Wolves did when they won in Mississauga at the time, in the dressing room, hooting, hollering, and it's all over social media and some of the stuff they said on social media, whatnot. It got erased though, but don't get me wrong, this stuff's going to be in the back of their mind, losing to them in the playoffs. But Sudbury's a tough place to play. Really, really tough, that arena up there. It's smaller. The fans are right on top of you. These two teams don't like each other one bit. First meet, if you can believe it, first meeting of 6 all
Yeah,
now
wow.
between these two teams. They're going to see each other a lot, right? So it should be a hard fought battle. It's going to be a really hard fought battle. And again, we don't know who's going to be back in the lineup, but if they play like they did against the Brantford Bulldogs, it should be all right.
Yeah, they could be getting both Lucas Karmiris and Mason Zabeski back for that game.
Right.
That is great news. That's both of those guys ahead of schedule. We can tell you that now, so that's awesome. Crazy to think that it is the first meeting between these two teams, considering they've played the Erie Otters, a Western Conference team, three times already.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
look for that. Look for this rivalry between the Wolves and the Steelheads to only build. If they're playing each other 6 times in the next 3 months and change, it's going to get pretty feisty. And you're right. It's the first time since that playoff meeting. Quentin Musty out with the broken hand. So that's a break. But when you think about how shorthanded the Steelheads are, Sudbury really didn't lose many guys to the World Junior Camp. So it will be a tough test. And video coach Matt Anderson was telling me it's going to be about -20 up there, Mikey. So bring your winter gear, bud.
I was already thinking. I was already thinking about that. And right when it's funny, as soon as I got home last night, I didn't believe Matt Anderson. I thought maybe he was just saying that. And so I just, I looked at my phone, -23. Can you believe that? -23 up there. Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
in and out.
well, I was saying you'll be in the warm rink, but Matt said it's not a warm rink. So.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's not. They changed everything down there, though, apparently. So you're not so crammed inside their little press box that they have there. So you won't hear their other commentators as you did before in your mic, right? And you guys said it, right? I could hear but not this time, not anymore. They moved them, so we're in different spots and stuff. So anyways, besides that, like they got Coach Adelic still. They got I mean, they got Alex Ferrand, who just got his first career OHL hat trick, another good player. They still got McCoy in the back end. They still got DeAngelis on the back end. Kieran Walton. Here's a guy that's really coming into his own right now. Winnipeg Jets draft pick as well. So if you could shut those guys down, especially those forwards, like I said, if the Steelheads play like they did against the Brantford Bulldogs, in my humble opinion, they should be okay. And if the goaltending is good for the Steelheads, they should be okay.
100%. So let's move on now to the game that's going to be coming up after Trout Talk here, at least in a couple hours, a 6:05 start against the Oshawa Generals on a Sunday night. So Steelheads facing off against Oshawa, obviously a really strong team, but they did lose a couple guys to the World Junior Camp. So again, it's going to be a tough battle either way, but there are going to be the Generals will be missing a few key players.
Yeah, just quickly, because I know we're coming up on time, but yeah, Beckett Seneca and Cal Ritchie are with the Steelheads boys at Canadian World Junior Selection Camp, so that's a break. But when you still got to contend with guys like Colby Barlow, like it is still a really good team. Jacob Oster, they're a handful. And again, when the Steelheads are at full strength, I'd love to see those two go head to head in a 7-game series because it might come down to that. But yeah, it's still a loaded Oshawa team. But like Mikey said on the other day, it's not the same team without Cal Ritchie. When he was up with the Colorado Avalanche at the start of the year, there's no surprise that the Generals struggled. And then when they got him back, and obviously they got the Barlow trade done, things started to settle for them. But without Cal Ritchie, he might be the catalyst for that team, Mikey.
I think so too. I mean, as soon as you just nailed it right there, as soon as Cal Ritchie, or when he was with the Colorado Avalanche and he wasn't back down yet, then you could see the Generals fans saying, when are you going to send him down? When are you going to send him down? Gosh, we need him. We need him. We need him. They were struggling. They were struggling at the beginning of the year, but they still have a lot of good players over there. And that's like Torrance is over there, Luke Torrance. They got on the front end Colby Barlow, as you mentioned.
Buckley.
So I guess those are the guys you're going to lean on, right? On the back end, Morelli still there. Ben Danforth still on the back end too, right? Jacob Oster, really good overage goalie. And it's another tough place to win. Steelheads went 0-4 against the Generals last year, right? And it's a tough place. It's a tough place to play. Really, really tough place. But again, hard work beats whatever. And so we should have the injuries, hopefully some of the injuries back, and that will help.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, that they were kind of circling that game Friday, possibly to get them back, but Sunday maybe more likely to see Zabeski and Karmiris back in the lineup. And I mean, two guys, especially Karmiris, who was having a great year before he got hurt, kind of as that second line center. So he's going to be huge to get back. And then Zabeski as well, who was, I think, playing his best hockey of the season before this injury too. So he can hopefully jump right back in where he was. And I think the Steelheads will definitely be successful. We should talk actually quickly before we get to the last game.
Excuse me.
Because we didn't mention it at the beginning. We talked a little bit about it, but we should talk about Aiden Lane coming to the Steelheads and signing with them. Of course, a guy who's committed to Harvard University and with the new rules allowed to play in the OHL now. So probably just for 2 years, but even just adding him for those 2 years, I mean, that's a big get for James Richmond and the Steelheads.
He's a high IQ guy. You saw it yesterday, just made a number of plays, put the puck on the net a number of times. I think he had like 4 shots at least. Obviously scored the late goal, so he gets the net front, gets the trust of the coaches to play that net front bumper position late in the game when you're seeking the tying goal. So a lot of good skills from him. Has the chemistry with Kieran Witkowski from the GTHL in their minor hockey league days, so they played together. Van Volsen was in the middle on that line too, but he's got a lot of good tools. Obviously, needs to season everything. First game in the OHL, he only got 2 in the USHL. So this was a step up in terms of talent by a mile. And obviously he passed the first test, but let's start to see him get a little bit more consistent. And I think he could provide a really nice, comfortable depth role for this team once they're healthy.
Yeah, and that just adds more. That just adds more to this team. And when all the, again, we have to go back with all the injuries come back. So you could look at this as kind of like, I guess, a deadline deal.
Similar, yeah.
Deal, right? I mean, and when all the injuries come back, and again, we say we're 99.9% sure that James Richmond's going to make some deals at the trade deadline. It's going to help the depth and help out Aiden Lane as well. But to play Kieran Witkowski, you nailed it, Zach. I mean, they were really good. And guy, St. Andrews College, before he came, just looking at his stats now, 21 games. I think we talked about it last night, 14 goals, 27 assists, 41 points. Thank you very much. So he's thick, he's strong. What I saw last night, his hockey IQ, Zach, you nailed it right on. That's it. His hockey IQ is really, really good. And he's just going to get better. It's his first game in the O, scores the game tying goal. Like, I mean, how do you like that? Unbelievable.
Yeah. It really, really is awesome. And I mean, not just his first game in the O, but he didn't even practice with the team before the game.
Yeah,
so I mean, to go in there, and I mean, it seemed like the fit was pretty seamless. Obviously, a lot of guys playing in the lineup that aren't necessarily on the roster all the time. But for him to get in there and like you said, get that game tying goal late in the third period, and to your point, Zach, getting the trust of the coaching staff to be out there in those times as well. Definitely a big thing. All right, just quickly before we wrap up, we will talk about another Wednesday game. We got another Wednesday night game coming up this week as well. It's the Brantford Bulldogs again on a Wednesday night. This time it's in Brantford, though. Obviously a rivalry there, so I'm expecting another great game on that Wednesday game in Brantford.
Yeah, they're going to come out physical. I think Brantford's going to really come out physical on that Wednesday. So the Steelheads really have to match their intensity, come out intense again. Just hard work, smart work beats their talent. I think they did a good job the Steelheads did of wrapping up Lardis. I know Lardis, he played well, but he didn't, have the game that Nick Lardis usually has and whatnot. They did a good job on him and Mr. Van Acker over there. You got to stop. They're pretty much a 2-line team, right? And that's it after that. So you stop their 2 lines and they'll be successful. Simple as that.
Yeah, it was a game that they probably should have won. Put up close to 40 shots
100%.
with all the absences. So credit them. They played great. They all bought in, which was great to see. And like you said, hard work is important. And I know we might not have time, but I just want to quickly mention that Team Canada for the World Juniors, they're playing against U Sports right now.
Yes.
Last time I checked, 3 goals for Carson Rakoff, 1 goal for Porter Martone. Not too bad for the
Steelheads. There we go.
That guy Ninkovic starting for the college team, whatever, the U Sports team.
Oh,
is that crazy or what? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The 2 goalies, two for U Sports and 2 for the Team Canada.
So maybe they know Covey's tendencies then. So let's discredit the goal. I'm
not sure if he started, but I don't know. That's what I saw. The lineups anyway. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. I mean, I think Rakoff will be on the team, obviously, as a returning player. Martone, the season that he's had, I think you probably see him on that team as well. So definitely looking forward to that. Quickly before we wrap up, Mikey, life tips. Zach, it's your first time back. You got anything for us that we can take into the next few weeks before the holidays?
Sure. We'll go with what's been applicable in my life. I guess take chances, be open to things, be confident in yourself. It all sounds cliche, but you put all these things together, trust the process. You keep working hard, It seems like things aren't coming to fruition. You just keep working hard. You take different approaches and avenues, and I think things will materialize for you. So that's, it's been a busy time, but I'm just trying to, live by that mentality and be proud, but not satisfied. Celebrate your small victories, all that kind of stuff. So that's a season's worth of life tip.
There you go. Not bad. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
you
very
were banking
powerful.
them all for this
Very
powerful.
episode. Yes, yeah. All right, we will wrap things up here. We got to go. I know,
Wait.
Mikey. Mikey. Okay, give me
Where
one.
you
Give me one.
going?
Let's hear it. Let's
You
hear it.
never heard my life tip yet.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Your chipmunks are nice to see.
Okay.
I'll tell you that right now. So they're very, very comforting if you see them, right? So if you see a chipmunk, just watch. And if you're having a bad day, go in the backyard. You see a chipmunk eating a nut, and you just watch the way they do it, the way they.
Okay.
It's just very comforting. So my life tip is go in the backyard. If you're having a bad day. If you see a chipmunk eating a nut, watch. You'll feel better. There you go.
Watch the chipmunks. There we go. That'll wrap things up here on Trout Talk number 17 of season 2. Zach, thanks for coming on today. Great to have you on the show. Mikey, thanks as always. Wrapping things up here. Also, Finn Harding as well. Thank you to him for coming on the show as
Merry
well.
Christmas,
I'm Brendan
everybody.
Lang. Yes, we'll probably have an episode next week, I think. Because their last game is on Friday. So I do think we'll probably have one more episode. But happy holidays, Merry Christmas. If we don't, and we will see you again at some point. So thank you so much for listening or watching on Saga 960, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And you're listening to Trout Talk on Saga 960 AM. Have a great evening, everyone.